What's going on, everybody? This is NYG JeffBT 3285, and I'm just here to do a quick recap of some of the injuries that have happened so far at New York Giants camp, and just preview of who's going to be possibly available for the game this Thursday against the New England Patriots, the New York Giants' first preseason game, and who is probably either going to be questionable or going to be out. So just to recap some of the injuries, we already know about the injuries with Matt Gano, who was recently just waived a little bit ago to bring on Eric Smith, who just came on as a corresponding move for the injured Matt Gano. We wish the best wishes for Matt Gano going forward. And obviously the injury to Marcus McKeithen, the rookie out of UNC, who tore his ACL just a couple of days ago during FanFest, and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Well, we unfortunately could add another rookie to that list of injured players, as unfortunately rookie tight end Andre Miller out of Maine, he broke his forearm during practice yesterday, and he's going to be out for an undetermined amount of time after he's going to be undergoing surgery on his broken forearm going forward. And of course we have to deal with the fact that Dane Belton, the rookie 4th round pick out of Iowa, he's also currently out right now due to a broken collarbone, but he's just recently got out of his sling and he did not need to get surgery on his collarbone, which might open the door of a possible return before week 1 of the NFL season, which is great news to hear for the New York Giants fans. And it's unfortunate to hear the news about Andre Miller, because the kid was actually really starting to make a name for himself in training camp and starting to move up the depth chart as a possible wide receiver 2, or tight end 2 and tight end 3 on this roster. But now he's going to unfortunately have to go with this setback going forward. So you wish the best for Andre Miller in his recovery, as well as Marcus McKeithen and Dane Belton. You hope the rookies can come back healthy. Now, during today's practice, wide receiver Austin Proehl had to go into the trainer's room today as he pulled up lame while running around, and it looks like he might have to be dealing with a hamstring injury. So you have to monitor that going forward, as Austin Proehl is looking to possibly win a reserve wide receiver spot with the New York Giants going forward. So keep in mind and look at that as a possible, thing to examine going forward. Now, New York Giants fans, don't get alarmed and don't get crazy, but Kadarius Toney was practicing during today's practice, and unfortunately he didn't really finish it out, as he was being looked at by the trainers on his right knee today. So you have something to monitor during that. It might not be like something to go nuts about, because Kadarius Toney did recently have a scope on his right knee, and he possibly could just be having his knee just checked to make sure everything's okay. Maybe they're monitoring his snaps so they don't put any more stress on that knee after he just came back from surgery not too long ago. But it's something to keep monitoring just going forward. And in terms of some of the other injured players right now, you have Matt Breida, who is right now has an undisclosed injury. We're not sure what's going on with him. David Sills, who is dealing with a leg injury right now. You have to see what's going on with him. Carter Coughlin also dealing with a leg injury. Rodarius Williams, who's still coming back from his torn ACL that he suffered last year during the season. And Josh Ezeudu, who right now has an undisclosed injury as well. And going into this game tomorrow, right now it looks like that Breida, Sills, Seals-Jones, and Coughlin and Williams are all going to be out and will not play in the game against the New England Patriots on Thursday night. And Josh Ezeudu right now looks to be questionable going into the game. And after what you hear about with Kadarius Toney and Austin Proehl, it probably looks like that these two, unless they're deemed okay to be able to play, I don't expect these two guys to play during the Thursday night preseason opener as well. Now, some maybe encouraging news that you've heard is that Joe Shane, who just recently did a WFAN interview yesterday, while Evan Roberts and Chris McMonagle were at Giants camp yesterday, Joe Shane did say that he's still hopeful that wide receiver Sterling Shepard might be able to make it back before the beginning of the NFL season, which would be a very big thing for the New York Giants, because they could use a veteran wide receiver like Shepard, who's dependable over the middle, and a guy that Daniel Jones always looks to in terms of that security blanket over the middle. So you have to hope that Sterling Shepard, who's still making his way back from a torn Achilles last year during the ending of the season, might be able to make it back by the beginning of the season and give Daniel Jones that dependable target over the middle. So hopefully Shep can make it back and give Daniel Jones another reliable target, especially with the fact that Toney is still ailing a little bit from his recent scope injury, and it appears like that Jones and Galladay are still working on their chemistry right now. And Wan'Dale Robinson, while he's looked great right now during the season, you have to be questionable about trusting a rookie so much in his first couple of games of his season. And obviously with Darius Slayton, while he has looked good with Tyrod Taylor, Slayton is still a question mark in terms of his injury issues, so we got to see what's going on with that. But that's just a couple of injury updates going on with the New York Giants so far during training camp and going into the first game of the preseason. As do not expect to see Matt Breida, David Sills, Ricky Seals-Jones, Carter Coughlin, and Rodarius Williams going into the first training camp, first preseason game this year. Josh Ezeudu could possibly play, but it's all going to depend on how he feels on Thursday night. Sterling Shepard might be making his way back and could possibly return for Week 1 against the Tennessee Titans on September 11th. Austin Proehl recently just left practice today with an injury to his leg, so you got to see how he's going to be going forward. Kadarius Toney, they're monitoring his right leg and his right knee mostly going forward. Andre Miller recently broke his forearm, and he's going to be going to go in surgery, so he's going to be out probably for a good amount of time if he still makes the team. So if you guys like the video, please hit the like button below. Subscribe if you haven't already to NYG Jeffy T 3285 for more breaking news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Giants, Brooklyn Nets, New York Mets, WWE Wrestling, as well as food for thought. Share your comments below on if any of these injuries that you've heard so far are a little bit of a concern for you, if you're not as concerned, and what players you're hoping to see can bounce back and be able to show something during the rest of training camp and preseason. And turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short that drops surrounding the New York Giants. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Tuesday morning / afternoon and evening. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants. Together blue, everyone.